between the Zephyros Empire to the north and the Chevron Kingdom to the south. There lies a country, La Tremont Night. In La Tremont, there is an academy known as Ansuvillan Dragonar Academy. The Zephyros Empire and the Chevron Kingdom are enemies. La Tremont Nation gained her independence from Chevron, but they are tasked with the breeding of dragons, also known as pals. The Empire, on the other hand, is known for its mechanical advancements. Each breeder has a tattoo on their body known as a star brand. The brand allows Astra to flow from a dragon to its breeder. We then see a woman laying on the protagonist, Ash Blake. Ash finds it difficult to move his body, but we later get to find out that Ash was dreaming. However, this is how it happens every night. Ash usually calls the woman Navi. Ash gets up and makes his way to the academy. The students around him start gossiping about him. Apparently, Ash has not been able to summon his own dragon. However, he has the ability to ride other people's dragons, and this is something no one else can do. Ash hears one of the students talking trash about him, and he is about to challenge him when his friend, Raymond, stops him. "Work on your anger issues," he says. In class, we get to learn that the two nations have called for a ceasefire, and no one is currently attacking each other. Later on, we are introduced to Sylvia La Tremont. She is the fourth princess of the country, and she is also an arrogant chick. Coming up is the Ares Dragonar Festival, where a dragon race will also be conducted. Raymond asks if Ash will compete in the race. I think bro has forgotten that Ash does not have a dragon as of yet. Soon afterward, the students gathered for dragon battle training in anticipation of the festival. Ash decides to train with Raymond's dragon, Brigid. Sylvia and her dragon, Lancelot, are also present for training. During training, Ash accidentally touches Lancelot, and this is sometimes dangerous because the dragon might react badly. The trainer checks everything to make sure that nothing is wrong. However, Sylvia is angry about the issue. She starts trash-talking Ash and blames his carelessness on his inability to summon his own dragon. She utters a statement that really hurts Ash. She says Ash's dragon might actually be dead, and that's the reason he cannot summon any. Ash asks her to apologize, but she refuses. She then gives Ash a condition. If he is able to defeat her during the dragon race, she will take back her words and apologize. That night, Navi shows up again. She reveals that everything she is doing is in preparation to make Ash's body suitable for her birth. However, she reveals that this will be the last night she will pleasure him as she does. The next day is the dragon race. Ash is to compete in the race using Brigid. Before the race begins, the council president, Rebecca, announces that anyone who wins will go on a date with her. All the male students go crazy upon hearing this because Rebecca is a very beautiful lady, and she has a nice shape too. Even Raymond wants to collect his dragon, but it is already too late for that. Sylvia, who is also the first-year student representative, is called to give a speech before the race. During her speech, we see two students talking about her. Apparently her brother Julius was once executed for breaking the biggest taboo. Moments later, the race begins. Ash performs very well in the race, but Sylvia ends up winning. Ash is taking a breather in the woods when he hears something strange. He runs over to investigate and he sees a non-functioning Zephyros airship that was used in the last war. Standing on top of the ship is a man putting on a white mask. The man looks like an Imperial soldier. Ash is 16 years of age and he still has an immature dragon inside of him. The man is surprised by this. Just then, the man's assistant, Anya, shows up and attacks Ash with a whip, but he manages to dodge it. During the altercation, we learn that the man's name is Milgos. Ash starts running and Anya pursues him. She knocks him to the ground and she's about to terminate him, but she hesitates. This gives Ash the time to push her away. While the duo is looking at each other, the ground under Anya caves in. She's about to fall off a very distant cliff and Ash runs to the rescue. However, Milgos gets there quicker and he rescues his assistant. Ash is then pushed off the cliff instead. As he falls to his death, his star brand shines bright and a spherical shape comes out of it. The sphere breaks apart to reveal a young lady. The power from the incident is enough to gently lower the duo to the ground. Ash knows the person she is looking at is his pal, but he is surprised that his pal is human. He thinks the girl is Navi, but he shrugs off the thought because she doesn't really look like Navi. The girl wakes to see Ash staring at her bare body. She immediately punches him in the face. She then clears Ash's doubt. She's a dragon after all, but it is still a surprise that she is in human form. Ash then tells her that he will be her master, but the girl immediately informs Ash not to even think about it. She considers herself Ash's master, while Ash is the lesser person in the relationship. Ash takes his pal back to his room and the girl makes him sleep on the floor while she sleeps on the bed. During the night, she crawls over Ash and decorates his body with hickeys. The next morning, Ash wakes to see Rebecca in his room. Rebecca brings some clothes for Ash's pal, and she also informs him that the Academy has asked Dr. Cornwell to conduct an investigation concerning the girl. They need to know how a dragon has taken a human form. Ash is also free to collect funds from the school to take care of the girl. Later on, Ash takes his pal out for a fun time. She gets to buy whatever she wants while also treating Ash like her servant. The girl eats an anther-flavored crepe, and she soon starts feeling hot. She begins to move closer to Ash, and she doesn't even mind that they are in public. Just then, Sylvia shows up, and she cannot believe the situation in which she finds the two. The girl sneezes, and Sylvia is able to deduce that something is wrong with her. Sylvia calls her assistant Cosette to check on the girl. It turns out that dragons are actually allergic to anthar. Sylvia scolds Ash because this is part of the things they are taught in school, but he obviously does not pay attention to them. Sylvia's assistant gives Ash's pal a remedy for the symptoms, and she immediately feels better. Sylvia then apologizes for what she said concerning Ash's pal. Meanwhile, someone is watching the duo. Moments later, Ash reveals the name he wants to give his pal. He decides to name her Iko. The girl likes the name and she starts to glow. Ash's star brand also glows, and she informs Ash that they have successfully bonded. This will make her astral energy flow through Ash as well. Iko enters a restroom to freshen up while Ash stays outside. While waiting outside, Sylvia runs into him again. He informs Sylvia that Iko is inside the restroom, but she is already taking too long. They soon enter the restroom to find out that Iko has been kidnapped. Sylvia then tells Ash that there is a way for him to locate Iko. Since they are joined by the astral flow, he can use this to track Iko. Sylvia tells him how to go about it. Ash activates his star brand, and it starts to glow. 3 shining butterflies come out of the star brand, and Ash starts to follow the butterflies. They arrive at a building where it is evident that Iko is being held. Iko wakes up inside the building and sees Cornwell standing over her. She wants to know why a dragon has taken a human form. Iko too doesn't know because she has been locked out of the dragon's memory network too. It doesn't matter because Cornwell is ready to dissect Iko and get the answers from her body. The dragon's memory network is known as Dragarth. She's about to begin her dissection when Ash, Sylvia, and her assistant storm into the room. Cornwell says the school hired her to check out Iko's biology. Iko will not die from the process, but immense pain is guaranteed. Cornwell activates a spell that induces sleep and prevents anyone in the magic circle from summoning their pal. Sylvia and her assistant are the first to sleep, while Ash is still struggling to stay awake. Just then, Iko pours her astral energy into Ash through their bond. This gives Ash the energy to stand up and destroy the magic circle. He frees Iko from the machine that she is tied to also. Cornwell can no longer do anything, so she just stands there and watches as everything unfolds. Later on, Cornwell enters the first-year students' classroom to introduce herself as their new teacher. All the male students go crazy because of her appearance. Up next, Rebecca calls Ash to her office to ask him to join the student council. She says the Empire has the academy in its sights and she will always be there to protect the school, no matter what. She reveals that the 2 people Ash met in the woods might be spies for the Empire. Rebecca urges Ash to think about her offer and let her know his decision later. They are still having this discussion when the alarm goes off. The duo rushes to the window to check what is happening. Turns out that a dragon is on the loose. Sylvia is trying to ride the dragon and calm it down, but it's not going well so far. Rebecca jumps to the rescue and summons her dragon, Q. She also transforms into her arch outfit. The highest level a dragon rider can get to is Arch, while that of Dragon is Maestro. Later on, Ash and Iko are having a meal at a public place when Anya sees the duo. She quickly hides herself and she is surprised to see Ash. Anya wonders how she will tell her master about what she saw. Shortly afterward, Rebecca arrives at the scene and she takes both Ash and Iko to a restaurant where the student council members eat at a discount price. In the next scene, we see Milgaus and Anya having a discussion about how peaceful the town is. They don't even use their dragons as weapons. Milgaus then activates a machine that changes the sky's color. Rebecca and the others feel that something is wrong, so they run outside to investigate. It turns out that a giant dragon is emerging in the middle of the town. The dragon's flesh looks rotten and irritating too. Iko runs toward the dragon and starts screaming at it, but the dragon captures her. The dragon begins to shoot energy blasts that destroy everything in its path. Rebecca activates her power and shoots it at the dragon. It does a little damage, but the dragon regenerates again. All these while Sylvia has passed out due to fear. Ash gets close to her and slaps her to bring her back to the land of the living. He tells Sylvia to summon Lancelot so he can ride it towards the dragon. Meanwhile, the dragon has completely ingested Iko. While she is inside the dragon's belly, her consciousness gets transferred to another room where she meets Navi. Navi reveals that Iko is currently in the High Dragon workshop. Navi adds that she is there to teach and mentor Iko while she is immature. The dragon causing chaos is Necromancia. Necromancia is a dead dragon that has been resurrected by artificial means. Navi reveals that the workshop is a space created by the sacred dragons known as Maestros. The arch is one of the things the maestros produced. An arch is an armor given to a dragon rider. Navi tells Iko to pick compatible materials to make armor for Ash so he can defeat the dragon. Iko selects a series of materials and crafts it for Ash. She sends the arch to Ash, but informs him that the armor is makeshift at the moment and not the original. With his new power, Ash is able to summon a giant and powerful sword which he then uses to cut the dragon. The dragon is defeated, and Iko is released from its grasp. Anya and Milgaus retreat when they realize that their experiment is a failure. Ash catches Iko in the air, and it is a beautiful sight to see. Later on, Ash and Sylvia accept to join the student council. They celebrate their induction with a party. In the next scene, Rebecca introduces the new inductees of the student council to the students. Sylvia is the new officer for moral conduct. Ash is the officer of general affairs. Ash doesn't really know what to say, and he just promises the students that he will do his best. Raymond is the first to clap for him, and the other students soon join in. Iko is the last member to be inducted into the student council. Iko will be the new school's mascot. She makes a funny gesture that prompts the students to burst into laughter. Later on, Ash is seen removing illegal posters from the notice board because that is part of his work. Iko sees a poster of the new club, the Silver Knight fan club, on the board. The club was created in recognition of Ash. The person who defeated Necromancia is considered a Silver Knight by everyone in the town. However, they do not know that Ash is the person who defeated the dragon. Basically, they just created a fan club after someone that they don't even know. Shortly afterward, the students are in class when Jessica enters. Jessica is the president of the Silver Knight fan club. The club is looking for information regarding the identity of the Silver Knight. Jessica publicly tells everyone that her aim is to marry the Silver Knight and bear his children. Ash tells Jessica to leave because she is disturbing the students, but Jessica shrugs him rudely. Little does she know that Ash is the Silver Knight that she is looking for. Rebecca later comes in and whispers something in Jessica's ear. She leaves immediately after this, but promises Rebecca that the battle has just begun. The students' council then meets in their office. Rebecca reveals that Jessica is not of nobility, but her family has been in service to the Randalls for generations. The Randalls are Rebecca's family members. Because Jessica is used to staying around nobles, she already has the dream to become one too. However, she has a chance to become a noble if she marries the Silver Knight. This is because arcs correspond to noble rank, and Ash is now one. If she marries Ash, her future will be guaranteed. Rebecca tells everyone in the room to make sure that Jessica does not find out about Ash's identity. Rebecca then tells the group that the first princess, Veronica, will be paying a visit to Anne Sullivan the next day. Veronica is Sylvia's elder sister. Sylvia freezes when she hears this. Her mood immediately went down and she looked sad. Cosette then tells Ash and the rest that Veronica has always subjected Sylvia to rigorous military training. Veronica is a warrior, and she wants her sister to be like her. Sylvia has been traumatized because of this. That night, Cosette helps Sylvia to massage her body to make her feel better. Sylvia usually remembers a memory of a boy that was always close to her. It appears that the boy is her brother, Julius. Guess we will find out later. The following day, a team is selected to welcome Veronica. Ash begs Iko to behave herself, and he promises to buy her crepe. Iko accepts the deal because of her love for crepes. Sylvia arrives at the scene very late. Shortly afterward, Veronica's entourage arrives. Her battleship, the Sylvanus, is so large that it is visible to everyone in town. The ship runs on a special kind of Fafronite called Millennium. Fafronite is 1,000-year-old dragon fossils turned into mana-rich crystals. The door to the battleship opens, and the elegant Veronica steps out. Veronica steps out of the ship and asks for her sister. Sylvia presents herself to her big sister. However, Veronica senses some sort of deceit in the air. She swings her sword towards her sister and she jumps backwards. She takes off her wig to reveal that she is not Sylvia. The imposter is actually Cosette. Sylvia then appears from the back looking all shaky and scared. To punish her, Veronica uses her sword to cut her clothing to reveal her top personality. Sylvia gets on the ground looking ashamed of what just happened. Her sister mocks her for being weak and not being able to stand up to do her duties. Ash steps in and tries to talk, but Veronica's closest knight, Glenn, points his sword at him. Veronica learns during the altercation about Ash's identity. She orders Glenn to pick up Ash and bring him to the ship. Elsewhere, Anya is going through some documents inside a tattered house located in the woods. Just then, a boy enters and calls her by another name, Shamara. Anya shouts at the boy for calling her by her real name. She goes by Anya now, she says. The boy then tells Anya that the Iron Blood Valkyrie, and that is, Veronica, has come to Anne Sullivan. She says the members of the association are headed into town to avenge their friends. Anya rushes out to try to lend a helping hand. Inside the battleship, Ash is dressed by a maid, Prim. Prim provides everything he wants for him. Later on, Ash is forced by Veronica and Rebecca to come and have a bath with them. During their bath session, Veronica tries to learn everything possible about Ash's fight against necromancia. Just then, Cosette and Sylvia enter the room. Turns out that Cosette and Prim are sisters. Veronica then reveals the real purpose of her visit. Since their brother Julius is dead, she wants Sylvia to get married quickly and give birth to an heir to avoid the end of the family. She already has plans to marry her off to Glenn. Veronica is not interested in having a family because what interests her is the military. Sylvia is devastated by this news. She informs her sister that her dream has always been to become a Dragonar. It will be shattered if she gets married or has a baby. Veronica then decides to give Sylvia the chance to prove herself. A match will be held the next day, and she wants to see how Sylvia will perform. The following day, the match is set between Sylvia and Rebecca. Sylvia is initially doing well until she oversteps and decides to go head-to-head with Rebecca's dragon. She fails woefully, and she is knocked off of her dragon. Ash runs to the rescue, and he carries her home. Glenn later comes into Sylvia's room to inform her that Veronica has instructed her to go to St. Valeria the next day to pray. She wants her to ask for forgiveness for her recklessness. Before leaving, Sylvia asks if Glenn is okay with the two of them getting married. He replies by telling Sylvia that he follows any instruction given to him by Veronica. Ash sees Glenn as a very cold-hearted person. Sylvia then reveals that Glenn wasn't always like that. He was friends with Julius, and after his death, he became despondent until Veronica took him under her wings. Rebecca then tells Ash that the student council will be meeting in preparation for Veronica's tour of the town. Sylvia is not invited because she will be praying at St. Valera. At the meeting, Rebecca shows those that are present the sketch of a woman. She is a mountain gorilla terrorist known as Avdocha, also known as She Who Condemns. She tried killing Veronica 5 years ago, but she failed. She has since then gone undercover, but there are reports that Avdocha might make another attempt. The following day, Sylvia is praying at St. Valeria when Jessica arrives and starts for her to be impregnated by the Silver Knight. Sylvia could not believe what she was hearing. They are still arguing when Avdocha and some other terrorists storm the building. Veronica is having a tour of the town when they receive the report that St. Valeria has been attacked. She and her team retreat to the Sylvanus to know the situation of things. Avdocha contacts them and shows them the situation that Jessica is in. She has hanged Jessica because she is of nobility. Avdocha promises to start killing hostages every hour if she does not surrender herself to be killed. Avdocha also reveals that she has a bomb in the building and she will not hesitate to detonate it. Inside the tower, we get to find out that Jessica intentionally surrendered herself so that the terrorists will not find out that Sylvia is Veronica's sister. Meanwhile, Anya is also in the hall, and she starts to contemplate whether to reveal to the terrorists that she is part of their organization too. Later on, Rebecca comes up with an idea. She wants them to send Ash into the building as a negotiator. Since the terrorists do not know that Ash is capable of Archdragonar level power, he should be able to buy them some time. Rebecca and a strike team will have the opportunity to enter the building through the underground tunnel and catch the terrorists off guard. Before leaving, Ash tells Eiko to help him put together an arch that is capable of handling a mechanical bomb. Ash enters the building and starts negotiating with Avdocha. She reveals that she is looking for her long-lost sister. While Eiko is building the armor, Navi tells her that she will understand one day why she is in a human form. Moments later, a child that Anya is petting cries inside the hall. Avdocha decides that Anya will be her first victim. She is about to lay her hands on Anya when Sylvia steps up and reveals her real identity. Secretly, Ash is holding a transmission device so that the ship can hear everything going on inside the hall. Sylvia says she can't stand aside and watch her citizens be killed. Avdocha removes her sword and cuts Sylvia's clothes and leaves her bare. Sylvia falls to the ground in utter humiliation. Just then, she starts to remember everything her sister has taught her. Sylvia stands up and forgets her shame. She doesn't mind losing herself as long as it keeps everyone around her safe. She considers herself the Paladin Knight. At that same moment, Rebecca, Glenn, and others storm the building. Ash is left to fight Avdocha. Eiko is done with the armor and she sends it to Ash immediately. Ash is able to use the device from the armor to freeze the bomb before Avdocha can detonate it. He also freezes Avdocha so she can be easily arrested. Jessica learns during this altercation that Ash is the Silver Knight, and she falls in love with Ash the more. After the battle, she wants to make out with Ash right there on the altar, but Ash is saved by Rebecca. Ash carries Sylvia on his back and takes her back home. This reminds Sylvia of the boy that she was close to. The following day, Rebecca informs Ash and Sylvia that Jessica will be joining the student council. This is to prevent her from leaking information about the Silver Knight. The trio makes their way to the Sylvanus, where Veronica is waiting for them. They enter the ship to find Avdocha standing beside Veronica. Sylvia and Ash are surprised by this, But Rebecca isn't. Turns out that yesterday's attack was a facade. It was Veronica's scheme to try and turn her sister into a strong person. It is true that Avdica wanted Veronica dead 5 years ago, but she started working with Veronica after she failed. Yesterday's operation also helped to arrest more terrorists. Avdica then reveals that she is also looking for her sister, who is named Shamara, and she will be turning 15 that year. Isn't Shamara the same person as Anya? Guess we will find out later. It is then revealed that Veronica actually adores her little sister. The battleship is even named after her. Their sisterly love is quite complicated now, isn't it? In the next scene, Iko wakes up from a nightmare. She witnessed something like necromancia crawling up her body and squeezing her with its tentacles. She finds out that she has bedwet. She tells Ash about it and he laughs at her. She ends up punching Ash in the head to knock some sense into him. Later on, we see Anya seeking a job at the restaurant. She is appointed as a waitress after her interview. Up next, Raymond Ash attends the ceremony where skillful Dragonars will be selected for training camp. This is like a step to getting into the elite ranks. One of the students, Luca, that is supposed to be selected is not in attendance. She has also not attended classes for the past 3 months. Luca is so talented that she is the youngest person ever chosen as a Dragonar. She even broke Rebecca's record. The host then tells the audience that someone will be joining the attendees on a special invitation. To everyone's surprise, Ash is the student added to the list. Ash later asks Rebecca why he was chosen. Rebecca tells him that he already has several feats to his name, so it shouldn't be a surprise that he has immense talents. Just then, they are informed that smoke is coming out of Luca's room. They rush over to investigate. They find Luca sleeping in a coffin and burning incense that has caused the thick smoke. Rebecca then informs the group that Luca is an Ecbladian. Ecbladians are fairies of the forest, and they are also a warrior clan with many dragons among them. Rebecca then asks Luca about her dragon, Gawain. Luca says she has not been able to ride Gawain for the past 3 months. He has been refusing her. Rebecca then tells the team that Gawain's life will be in danger if this continues. Once there is no bond, there won't be astral flow, and this is bad for the dragon. Dragon's life force is connected to the astral flow from their masters. Later on, Anya is already preparing herself to become a good waitress. She also wants to use the opportunity to investigate Ash. In the next scene, Iko tells Ash about her nightmare. She has been feeling down because of this. Ash manages to cheer her up and she returns to her usual lively self. After this, Ash sees Luca making her way to the dragon's pen to try and make a connection with Gawain. However, Gawain chases her off as usual. Ash then understands how Luca must be feeling because of this. Rebecca tells him that there might be a way to help Luca, but it might be dangerous. Ash will have to ride Gawain and try to communicate with him. Ash has a way of communicating with dragons when he rides them, so he can use that to ask Gawain why he is rejecting Luca. They tell Luca about their plan and she agrees to follow them to the pen. Upon arriving at the pen, Gawain roars at Luca and she runs away again in fear. Rebecca tries to stop her, but she is not ready. Everything now falls on Ash. Ash arms himself with Arch and approaches Gawain. He tries communicating with the dragon, but the dragon attacks him instead, and those outside the building could see the resulting explosion from the dragon's attack. They fear that Ash is dead. The dust settles, and the group is relieved to see that Ash is okay. However, his armor is destroyed by Gawain's attack, and he barely makes it out. Gawain is left alone again because nothing seems to be working at the moment. Later on, Ash asks Rebecca for permission to speak with Luca once again, and tries to convince her. Luca is supposed to be attending the training camp with them, and it might be a good opportunity for her and Gawain to reconnect again. They need to figure out why the dragon is rejecting her in the first place. Ash and Iko visit Luca in her room. Ash reveals the purpose of their visit. They want her to go to the training camp with them. Gawain will also be there, and this might help. Luca sees the relationship between Ash and Iko, and this reminds her of the good times she has had with Gawain. She then agrees to go to the training camp with them. Elsewhere, we see Milgaus and Anya meeting. He commends her for successfully infiltrating the school. She informs her boss that she will also be joining the students going to training camp. She is part of the kitchen staff. During the conversation, Milgaus calls Iko the daughter of Avalon. This is the same name the bad guy in Iko's nightmare called her before. Soon afterward, the students get on their way to the camp. Upon arriving, Rebecca cheers the students on that they are free to play around in the water. While the students are playing, one of them sees Cornwell making her way to someplace else on the island. Jessica also does not give Ash any free time, and it is left for Iko and Sylvia to save him from Jessica. Later that night, Ash sees Luca walking toward where Gawain is being housed. He follows her and watches as she tries to recreate the bond between them, but Gawain refuses her once again. Ash approaches Gawain and scolds him for being mean toward his master. Ash finds a way to infuriate the dragon. The dragon chases after him and Ash tricks him to a slippery path. The dragon slips and Ash uses the opportunity to jump on the dragon and tries to ride it, but the dragon rejects him. Gawain knocks him to the ground, and the damage from the attack obviously affects him because he cannot move his body. Meanwhile, Anya has been following Ash, and he witnessed everything that happened. She realizes that Ash will die if he does not receive help immediately. She shows herself and tells Luca to run off and seek help immediately. While she is gone, Anya does what she can for Ash to make him survive, and she thinks to herself that they are now even. Ash finds himself in the High Dragon workshop and Navi appears to him. Navi tells Ash that Garwin might be a maestro, but he is emotionally immature. An incident happened 3 months ago where Luca fell off Gawain's back. She unconsciously starts having the fear of mounting Gawain again. Gawain is now rejecting her in an attempt to protect her. He is ready to even die in order to protect Luca. Navi then tells Ash that Gawain has only 5 days to live if the bond between him and Luca is not fixed immediately. Before leaving the workshop, Navi calls Ash the Knight of Avalon. Ash wakes back to the real world and sees Luca in bed with him. Luca lays beside him to keep him warm. Ash tells Luca about the urgency of the matter. They need to find Gawain and fix the bond immediately. On the other hand, Cornwell makes her into the hidden dragonkind chamber. She sees a book about the 2 kingdoms, the Sacred Empire of Avalon and the Dark Kingdom of Nehelenia. Just then, Milgauss and Anya appear behind her. Cornwell figures out Milgauss's real identity from the nickname he called her. Turns out that Milgauss is Prince Julius. Julius knocks Cornwell out and reveals his plan to unleash necromancia. Later on, Ash is seen having fun with his friends. Just then, Luca runs into the room, looking exhausted. Ash is still weak, but he has no choice but to stand up and follow Luca. Luca informs them that Gawain has vanished. Jessica says there is a possibility that Gawain is at Willingham Mausoleum. There is a story about a particular dragon, Nuada, that lost connection with his breeder too. He went to the building, cut off the astral flow from his breeder, and died in the building. This might be the same thing that Gawain is trying to do. On the other hand, Rebecca and the rest of the students are having fun beside a campfire. Ash and the rest of the team get to the building. Milgauss is also inside the building, and he uses his magic to activate a magic that resurrects the dead dragons in the building and in the forest. The dragon uses its tentacle to hold the girls, but Lancelot breaks it off with his breath. They get on Lancelot and start riding into the building. Rebecca and the others have also seen what is happening. Ash tells Iko to build him an arch. His body is not fit to wield an arch at the moment, but Ash convinces Iko to make one that will be compatible with his current state of health. Iko's body will be vulnerable while she is in the workshop, so it is up to Ash to protect her. They get into the building and they come face to face with Milgauss. Milgauss says some words to Sylvia. These are the exact words that Julius usually says to her sister. Milgauss resurrects Nuada to fight the team. Iko gets to the workshop, and she asks Navi for help concerning the arch she wants to build. Navi promises to give her a ready-built arch armor if she can promise her one thing. Navi wants Iko to build Ash an original arch in the future. This means Iko will have to surrender her body and everything in her power to Ash when the time comes. The necromancia continues to mess with the girls, and it even captures Iko's body. Ash is frustrated and she screams out Iko's name. Iko snaps back from the workshop and she already has the arch ready to go. She activates, and it immediately forms an armor around him. Ash goes after Milgauss, but Iko warns him that the armor is built solely for defense and not for attack. Meanwhile, Rebecca and the rest of the students are also fighting the undead dragons, but they are having a hard time because of their mass numbers. A battle ensues between Milgauss and Ash. Sylvia and the rest also manage to defeat Nuada. Milgauss quickly retreats when he realizes that he will be captured if he stays any longer. The undead dragons are still causing chaos. Luca jumps off the cliff and sends her emotions to Gawain. She promises not to be scared to ride him again. Immediately, their astral flows come back together and Gawain flies over from where he is. Luca rides Gawain majestically, and this proves as a sign of hope to everyone watching. Luca casts a purification spell and unleashes it on the dragons. The dragons are defeated, and Luca is also reunited with her dragon. Later on, we see Milgauss giving the result of the operation to the person he is working for. Milgauss's boss reveals that their plan will be carried out during the Intercontinental Congress. Up next, Sylvia receives an invitation letter from her father. She is to come to the Intercontinental Congress. She is to bring Ash and Iko with her. The Continental Congress is an event that is held every 5 years among the leaders of 5 nations. This usually determines the future of the entire Arkstrata continent. La Tremont country has been chosen to host. Sylvia, Ash, and Iko soon arrive at the country's capital, Fontaine. And Sullivan looks like a village when compared to Fontaine. Upon landing, they are welcomed by the head maid Frida. She tells Sylvia that her father wants to see her while the other 2 are to follow her. Frida takes them to a room where they met Prim. Prim is to choose the clothes Ash and Iko will wear. Sylvia meets her father, and her father is so happy to see her. I have never seen a king act so childish. He has missed his daughter so much, and he tries hugging her, but she punches him in the face. She asks her father why he invited her to the Congress. He reveals that he just wants to meet Iko and Ash. He has heard so much about them, and it is time he meets them in person. Sylvia asks her father if Julius was truly executed, and he says yes. Julius killed a dragon, which is taboo. However, Sylvia sees through her father that he is lying. Soon afterward, Ash and Iko go shopping for clothes that will be suitable for the event. Iko and Ash are to attend the event together because Iko wouldn't allow him to go with anyone else. Once they are ready for the event, the duo meets with the Paladin, Sylvia's father. The Paladin gets to like Iko from the little conversation they had. He says Iko is a very unique dragon, and the Dragonhood has their reason for sending her in human form. The Paladin decides to make Ash a Dragonar right there and there. Maestros are top dragons, and their masters are Dragonars. When Sylvia hears that her father is appointing Ash as a Dragonar, she looks happy because Ash is one step closer to becoming Arch-Dragonar, which is automatically nobility. He is then liable to marry into the royal family. What sort of thoughts is this chick having? Chill out, girl. Shortly afterward, Anya meets Milgaus on Klaus's battleship. Klaus Wiedershausen is a military noble from the Zephyros Empire. He is sent there by the king to represent him because he will not be able to attend. Klaus is the same man that Milgaus is working for. Klaus reveals that he found Milgaus 10 years ago when he wandered into their country after being stripped of his rank and dignity in his home country. Anya is shown a mechanical device that they plan on using Iko. The device will force out the dragon side of Iko. Anya is given the task to kidnap Iko. Later on, Sylvia tells her sister about her suspicions that Milgaus is their brother. Veronica tells her not to tell anyone else about it. The following day, Sylvia enters Ash's room to tell him about Julius's issue. It's been weighing down on her and she needs to get it out of her system. Meanwhile, Prim and Iko are selecting clothes to wear. Prim lets it out that Iko is a dragon, and she shouldn't be having romantic feelings toward Ash. She tells Iko that Ash will get married to a human lady one day and have children too. This is too much for Iko to handle and she runs out of the room. She continues running with the words ringing in her head. Prim realizes what she has said and she runs after Iko. Now in Ash's room, he manages to comfort Sylvia and she is extremely happy because of this. She jumps on Ash and hugs her. The duo looks into each other's eyes as they share a beautiful moment. They are about to lock lips when Cosette enters and interrupts the wonderful moment. Sylvia stands up and walks away as if nothing was happening. Iko continues running until she gets to the old and abandoned palace. She finally realizes that she is lost. Prim is also coming behind her and the duo walks into Anya's trap. Iko is kidnapped while Prim is left. Later on, everyone attends the gala, but Ash doesn't know what has happened. Klaus arrives at the event and Milgaus accompanies him as his assistant. Ash almost confronts him, but Sylvia stops him. There is nothing they can do at the gala. During the dance, Ash's attention is fully focused on Milgaus. Milgaus later comes over to ask Sylvia to dance with him. Sylvia asks him if he is Julius, but he refuses to answer. After the dance, Prim arrives to tell Ash and the rest that Iko has been kidnapped. She reveals that it was her fault that Iko ran out of the room. However, Ash does not blame her even though Sylvia is scolding her. Ash wants to challenge Milgaus when he hears this, but Sylvia stops him again. She says those that kidnapped Iko have no intention of killing her or else they wouldn't have abducted her. They deduce that Klaus's battleship is the best place that they can search. That will be the only place they can hide her in the city. Inside the ship, Iko has been thrown into the machine. They activate the sequence to turn her into a dragon. They keep pumping her with Millennium, but it doesn't seem to be working. Meanwhile, Ash and Sylvia are on their way. The scientist pumps Iko with all they have, and she begins to react to it. The chamber holding her bursts open, and it destroys half of the ship with it. A cocoon surfaces out of the ship and floats to the sky. Lancelot gets to a stage, and he gets scared to go any further. Sylvia and Ash needed to get down and watch from a distance. The cocoon hatches, and a very large dragon comes out of it. Turns out that the big dragon is Iko. All the other dragons in the city that are maestros immediately move over to where Iko is. On the other hand, Veronica is trying to make sure that the guests are okay. She and Glenn come face to face with Milgaus. She demands that Milgaus take off the mask on his face. He takes off his mask to reveal that he is Julius on the outside, but he is Mordred on the inside. Mordred is Julius's dragon. Mordred reveals that he is the true heir of the Dark Kingdom of Nehelenia, which has fought Avalon for many years. Julius found out about his existence and plotted his demise. He caught wind of this and possessed Julius instead. He then committed the dragon-slaying crime with Julius's body. He was sent away because the paladin could not kill his son. Unknown to them, Mordred has possessed Julius and he is the real culprit. Glenn hears this and he snaps. He goes after Mordred, but he incapacitates him in one move. Mordred then transfers his consciousness into Iko's body. Once his consciousness is gone, Julius returns to his normal self. Mordred starts taking over Iko, and it is very evident that she is in pain. After he has taken over Iko's body, his consciousness goes to the workshop to confront Navi. He wants Navi to grant him all the wisdom in her possession, but she refuses. He decides to take it by force, but Navi doesn't even seem bothered. A battle ensues between the duo, but Navi manages to push him out of the workshop. Back in the real world, Sylvia meets her brother, and she is very happy to see her brother alive and well. Ash and Julius ride the Sylvanus toward Mordred so that Ash will try to ride him. He can then find a way to expel Mordred's consciousness from Iko's body. Ash is surprised that Veronica even released her battleship. Julius tells him that he has something funny about her and he threatened to expose her. Veronica prays Julius should come back alive so that she can kill him herself. The maestros around Mordred have started attacking him from the moment he took over Iko's body. Mordred starts attacking Sylvanus, and Ash has no choice but to dive on the dragon. The battleship goes down, and Ash hopes that Julius is safe. Inside Iko's consciousness, she finds herself in a cage. Navi arrives after her battle with Mordred. She transfers some vital information to Iko. She shows Iko how Ash is trying hard to save her. Navi breaks Iko out of the cave. She wants Iko to create a powerful arch that is made out of her feelings for Ash. In real life, Luca, Rebecca, and the rest of Ash's friends arrive from Ansullivan to provide support for him. Together, they attack Mordred. Ash jumps towards the dragon, but the dragon releases a fatal attack towards him that is meant to finish him off. At that same time, Iko managed to conjure up a powerful arch for him. The arch arrives just in time, and Ash is able to take in the attack without receiving any damage. With this new power, Ash is able to summon the Excalibur. Mordred warns him that destroying the body will also mean certain death for Iko. However, Ash says he knows exactly where Iko would be. He uses the sword to cut off one of the dragon's horns, and he immediately turns into dust. Iko is released from the body, and Ash hugs her in the air while everyone watches them. Elsewhere, Avdosha finds a wounded Anya, and she immediately figures out that she is her sister because of the scarf that is with her. Later on, we get to find out that Julius is alive. He tells the group that Mordred's consciousness escaped from the dragon's body. That is another problem for another day, however. The rest of the group leaves the room for Ash and Iko. The duo shares a romantic moment together as they lock lips.